Welcome to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, coming from our beautiful studios as always. And boy, it's draft time. And the NFL draft has become a 3-day national holiday. It's its own cottage industry. It's incredible. And trying to find some good information about the draft and the Bengals prospects in the draft. So I turned to Chris Sims. Phil Simms and Chris Sims do their homework. They are prepared. They have opinions, and they have opinions that's backed by the tape. That's why I like getting the opinion of Chris Sims. And first, we talked to him about the draft, overall draft, strengths, weaknesses, what trades may occur, if any, during draft day. He's got a lot to say and says it so well. Thanks for joining us in the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And it's NFL draft time. And when you're talking NFL draft, I like to go to the guys that do their homework, that study the tape, that do their research. And nobody outworks and outprepares and outresearches this young man right here, Chris Sims, who I had the privilege of observing play with Mac Brown at University of Texas and get drafted in the third round into the National Football League, played 9 years there, was an All-American quarterback at Texas, and does unbelievable broadcast work now with NBC, and you'll see him at in a myriad of places. In fact, you got to be going crazy here. We appreciate you carving time for us, because Chris Sims Unbuttoned is a must listen, much watch, Pro Football Talk. You name it, you're on it, Chris. How do you fit it in 24 hours?
Yeah, well, I stay busy. There's no doubt about that. It's why I like this business. I love football and got a big mouth, so it works well for me that way. I appreciate you saying all those nice things about me. I do work hard. I put my passion and my life into it. Am I always right? No, certainly not. But you can always count on the fact that I've done my research and worked on it. I didn't just pull some thought out of my butt and throw it out there. That's for sure. So I'm just happy that I'm done. I was a little behind this year with the crazy free agency we had, the Super Bowl being a week later, and I don't know what happened, but I've got a little bit of a late start in the draft this year to where I was playing catch up from the get-go. So I got a real good feel for it now, and I'm just glad I got it all done and I don't have to worry about watching film all weekend this weekend.
All right, that sounds awesome. Excited to hear your take on a lot of things. I guess first of all, this draft, if a quarterback, wide receiver, running back do not go in the first 10 picks of the draft, this is the first time since like 1936 that's happened. It's never happened before. But the human nature tells me a quarterback's going to go probably in the top 10. Maybe he shouldn't, obviously, for sure. But do you think that an owner's going to say, look, we got to get the quarterback?
Right.
You think somebody will go in the top 10, Chris?
It's a tough one. I will say I have less of a feel for the quarterback situation and what's going to happen this year than I can ever remember. I've always had a pretty good feel for, one, I evaluate, two, I know a ton of people around the NFL and can kind of feel how it's going to shake out. Might not be what I agree with but have a feel. Have a hard time this year. Don't have a lot of tangible evidence of, this team likes this guy or this team loves that guy. To me, the only guy that's worthy of being in the top half of the first round is Matt Corral, right? That would be the guy I look at. He's the one to me that's got first round, elite traits, talent. Malik Willis right behind it. Kenny Pickett would be my third. And Dave, my heart of hearts, reading, between the lines, the tea leaves, all that stuff, I don't think a quarterback's going to go in the top 10 this year. I don't. I got a feeling it won't happen. One, there's questions about all of them. I understand that. Yep. Like I said, Corral has got great talent, but the offense was a little bit one read. There's some things about his game he'd like to be a little bit better. He'd like his movement or pocket, throwing in the pocket with people around him to be a hair better. All right, so it's just not perfect. But the high-end talent's wowing. And Malik Willis, same thing. Like, whoa, unbelievable arm, really good athlete to get out of trouble and do that. but in the pocket, going through reads, it needs work big time. Pickett, of course, can do all of that, but does none of it at a wow level and really never wows you. And one of my things with the draft, I would say, Dave, is that there's might not be the superstars we've seen in years past at quarterback, or Jadeveon Clowney or Myles Garrett type of guy. But I do think it's very deep, and I still think that the top 10, 15 picks are certainly a premium from this reason. You look at this and I go, yeah, a lot of depth, a lot of good players, but I think in almost every position group, there's like 2 or 3 guys that stand out from the rest to where I would go, yeah, here's the top 2. And to me, there's a little bit of a drop here between 2 and 3. And I think that's where the value is going to be in that top half of the first, 10 picks, 15 picks, to where teams aren't going to want to pass up some of those guys that they have a clear line of, whoa, they're better than the rest of the group.
Yeah, that's interesting to me, is because I don't think there's necessarily a consensus of the top guy at each position, never mind the top pick of the draft.
Yeah.
You find many people saying, oh, no, this guy, top pick in the draft. There's a majority is going to say one thing, but not a consensus.
No, you're right.
And the same thing almost by every position group. So it's where do you think the draft is the deepest by position group? Where do you think the draft hits the truest?
Well, wide receiver, there's a lot. There's a lot to be had, and there's all shapes and sizes and flavors and colors and whatever you want. Oh, we need a slot guy. We need a big guy. We need a speed guy. So they got it all there in that position.
Right.
Offensive line, I legitimately think there's 8 possible first-round offensive linemen, to where I thought that, man, you're going to be able to get some good players in the offensive line the first 2-3 rounds of the draft for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Another place that I found that I thought the depth was good, maybe not the high on talent, the linebacker position. It might not be no Micah Parsons there. I get that. But damn, as I climbed down that list, I kept going, well, this is a starting linebacker in the NFL. This is a starting linebacker in the NFL. Might not be a top 10 or 15 pick there, but damn, there was a lot of good ones for sure.
What about edge rushers? Do you think?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Some depth there.
Definitely. Definitely some depth there. I expect Hutchinson and Walker to be the first two off the board. I do, Dave. Yeah.
Walker he's a freak athlete. There's no question about that. What about these crazy trades that have happened, Chris? Do you anticipate? I mean, how about somebody packaging picks and a current player on that roster and packaging that sort of thing and moving during draft day or right before the draft or right after the draft? Do you think this packaging picks and maybe, like I said, a veteran player included in that mix might continue, or do you think these big blockbuster trade scenarios are over?
Yeah, I think they're about over. I do. I don't know if there's that guy or anybody that everyone's going to just clamor for in the top 10 to go, oh my gosh, we got to have him and we'll sell the farm for that guy. Where I think there could be some movement is more towards the later half of the first round, where teams go, to what you said. You just see there's, our top 2 guys are gone. Now, okay, here we are at linebacker. We'll just take whatever position and go, okay, we're up. We need a linebacker. But, man, our grade between the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th linebacker, we're all very similar, and we didn't think there was a difference. So let's trade down a few spots, collect some more picks. I could see that being more of the action of what happens in the first round rather than like the huge, let's trade 3 picks, 3 first rounders to get Trey Lance and all that stuff. I don't know if I envision that one happening in this draft.
So the Bengals sitting there at 31.
Yeah.
At the end of the first round, if the quarterbacks are taken where they should be taken, there's potentially a quarterback that somebody might have. Okay, I think we got to move up into late in the first round to get the guy and get that extra year, that 5th year on that rookie contract for salary cap purposes, and be able to manage and massage my roster. Do you think the Bengals might be in a good spot if they come to 31? It's like we still have 3 guys that we're fairly equal in the evaluation of these 3 guys. If we can move back a little bit, maybe we pick up an extra pick and do it.
Yes, I would think that would be an ideal scenario there for sure. And two, probably as long as you don't have to go back too far. And, again, I know we're going to discuss this a little bit, but if you're the Bengals and you're looking for, another pass rusher or something like that at the end of the first, you're right. There's probably going to be a few that are really available in the top half of the second round. There's just not going to be much of a drop off. So that would be ideal. Now, the thing is just what team is going to do that? Detroit is one of those teams that's sitting there at 32 that you're right. They could be that team that drafts that quarterback with the last pick of the first round.
Right.
So if let's say there's an Atlanta or Seattle or somebody like that who goes, all right, we're at pick 43 and pick 40. We need to get up in the first round because of what Dave Lapham said, and we need to get this fifth year. That's the spot where you're going to go to because you're going to be scared of Detroit if they haven't taken the quarterback by that point already. So right. I certainly could see that being a scenario. And, I don't know. Again, I like Corral the best. It seems like Corral could be the guy there at the end of the first round where I go, oh my gosh, if Matt Corral's there at the end of the first round, you better make the move. I mean, again, I think people are underestimating the talent of this player a little bit, in my opinion.
So who is, as all the research that you've done, is there a player that is the Chris Sims potential surprise pick of the draft as such?
Ooh, I mean, I got a lot of man crush things here, right? I mean, first off, I like Jermaine Johnson, the Florida State guy. He's to me is a top 10 pick. I loved him. Mm-hmm. The Purdue George Karlaftis kid, but as far as I like him. I mean, gosh, I don't know. I don't know how you cannot like him.
Yep.
Here's just like under the radar guys, right? That I think haven't got the respect, but need to get it. First off, the best linebacker on Georgia is not Nakobe Dean. It's Quay Walker. Quay Walker, don't be shocked if you see him drafted the second linebacker off the board after Devin Lloyd from Utah, who I think will be the first one. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a phenomenal football player who's got lost in the shuffle, because they got so many good players there in Georgia. Georgia also, those two D tackles for me, Dave, Davis and Wyatt, they're top 10 picks. They're top 10 picks. Wyatt is as good as Quinnen Williams coming out a few years ago. Jordan Davis is better than Vita Vea, who was the number 12 pick a few years ago. So to me, that says you take him in the top 10. So those are guys that I love that I go, they're not getting the credit they deserve. How about Leo Chenal from Wisconsin, the middle linebacker there? Why does nobody talk about him? I mean, he's 6'3", he's 250, he ran 4.5. He runs people down, he crushes blockers. But I don't know, why is he not getting any love? I don't understand that either. So I have a lot. I can keep going here if you want me to. You just tell me when to stop.
No, I love it. Yeah, keep going.
All right.
Give us a few more.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get into like safety position. I'll get into the other kid from Georgia, Cine, C-I-N-E.
Yep.
To me, that's another guy that I go, I don't know why he's not getting more talk. He's a first-round safety. He's the second best safety in the draft next to Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame. So I love looking at those guys to just go, why don't we give these people some love? Jalen Armour Davis from Alabama. I mean, he's 6'2". He ran 4.39. Nobody ever gets open against him, and nobody talks about him as being one of the top-tier corners in the draft. I don't get that one. So, there's a few guys there just, right off the bat that, I love that I don't think are getting enough credit. Along with the North Dakota State receiver, Christian Watson, who I think is got DK Metcalf, Chase Claypool type talent. And, because he's at North Dakota State and his production wasn't quite what we all want, it can't, now he has to be in charge of the play call to him and the quarterback throwing to him when he's open. See, that's where people miss out on the receiver stuff. So there's a few names that at least I love that are kind of off the beaten path.
Here in Cincinnati, of course, the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, and the Cincinnati Bearcats went to the college football playoffs. Any UC Bearcats impress you, Chris?
You know it. I mean, first off, Sauce Gardner. He's one of the safest, easiest picks of the draft.
Yeah.
I think he's, certainly a guy that we see go off the board in the top 10 or 12. They don't make human beings like that very often.
Right.
6'3", that fast, that quick, pretty damn tough, unbelievable jam at the line of scrimmage. So, yes, love him. Alec Pierce, he'd be another guy that I should have just mentioned with that group. I mean, what is not to like about Alex? I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's, to me, it's over evaluated. Oh, his route running's not perfect, or his releases are like, he's a phenomenal athlete. He's explosive as hell. He's twitchy as hell. And you see plenty of evidence of him being good at all that. He just got to do it more and be coached a little bit more, but he's one. The safety from Cincinnati, Cook.
Yep.
I mean, he's a hell of a player. I think he's off the board in the first 45, 50 picks of the draft. So I loved him. I'm missing somebody else that was also in that conversation, but either way, they got a really good football team. And of course, the quarterback, Desmond Ridder, has got some potential, but I don't look at him as a first-round pick.
What about Beavers, the linebacker?
Oh, yes. Beavers, the linebacker, certainly a really good player.
Yep.
You know, again, not in the upper echelons for my, money as far as that's concerned, but like another one of those guys where you go down the list and go, damn, I mean, this is the, 15th, 16th guy I've watched, and he's starting caliber type of football player. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, again, it was a phenomenal football team. They've done a great job there in Cincinnati, kind of reviving that football program for sure.
So Beavers potentially like third-round kind of guy?
I think so, probably somewhere in that range. I think that's probably safe, third, fourth, mid-rounds of the draft for sure.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Okay, so a lot of information there, no question about it, about the draft. Who do you think is best positioned to do the most damage in the draft? Which football team is right now armed and ready to roll on draft weekend?
Yeah. How can you, again, I think the teams with the multiple picks, that's the interesting thing about the draft too, that we probably should have hit on. And, there's just the fact that we got 8 teams or 7 teams with 2 picks in the first round. That's just so rare. And that's going to allow some flexibility with those teams. So I mean, it's great. You got great power if you're the Giants or the Jets with 2 top 10 picks there to, maybe get one guy you really wanted or needed and had your eye on. Now we could trade down and do that. Philadelphia and New Orleans sitting there in the mid rounds. Again, they're going to be capable of doing anything. Oh, we want to trade up a few spots. We want to trade back a few spots, whatever. So, I look at all those teams of like, again, where I think it's going to be a little bit of the beauty in the eye of the beholder. And that's where I think that second part of the first round can be, a little crazy, or has the potential to be, because I think one team could view the third or fourth receiver as the third or fourth receiver. And then another team can go, well, no, that's our 6th and 7th receiver. We don't have them quite there. It's that close in some of these positions there when you get down the line to where I think that's where the action can really start going.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.